We all have all have to all stand up and fight this now. It's already gone way too far. It's got to be stopped now. I agree. I agree. I just don't think it's the government. I don't think it's, but I think the problem's at the corporation level. So I don't know how you stop that. Um, I'm not saying the government's innocent. It's not at all. But if you think about it, for a long time, the Bill of Rights has been being denied to us, the average Americans, while the corporations, the free corporations that aren't connected to the government, but really are, but it doesn't matter. While they've denied Americans, the average Americans, the people lower on the totem pole, their constitutional rights. And here's how. So like when Facebook came in, right? When I started seeing the employers get on Facebook, I'm like, that's weird, just weird. But then they've used that there's been many stories throughout the years about this, how an hospital, for instance, will see that a nurse or anybody that works for them posts something that they don't like. They post it on their own time, and they go after them and tell them to remove it or they'll be in trouble. Like that's them. That's the free, because the hospitals are a corporation, and now that they've monopolized, they're denying the people lower on the totem pole our rights to our Bill of Rights, because the First Amendment is free speech. So if you're on your own time, even if the hospital or whatever it is, your school, wherever you work, doesn't like what you're saying, too fucking bad. Too bad. But then they'll get people in that will sign these agreements, right? So you agree you can't talk to the media, you can't do this. Well, if I'm on my own time, I should be able to do any of those things. I get the same rights as you do, corporations. But they have trapped people in this system. And that I think there's a lot of people that are standing up and speaking up. I've never been one that thinks that if you get a bunch of people together and go protest, that does anything. I don't think the politicians ever give a shit about that anyway. I think it's just a way for them to infiltrate a group and then redirect it, bad actors, or you get the FBI infiltrating it, like they did on January 6th. But so I've never thought that does a whole lot. I mean, people say strength in numbers. Yeah, but I just don't know what you do about the free enterprise corporations, because those are the ones I see as the most dangerous. Because it doesn't matter what politicians come in and out, something has to be done about them. They've been getting away with denying Americans their free constitutional Bill of Rights, while they are protected under those same Bill of Rights to do it. They are. This is why I don't have a lot of respect for the courts. And a lot of people want to say we Americans, we haven't stood up and done enough. And it's like, I think a lot of Americans we've known for decades, right, that, yeah, it's corrupt. Politics, all day, it's always corrupt. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't stand up and speak up against it. But what ends up happening, and this is what most people see, is that you become a target. And then if you do try to take that corporation on, you don't stand a chance up against it. These corporations, they have so many lawyers. And the sad part is this is why I have little respect for the Supreme Court or any of the courts, because they should have been really working, looking at the average. I mean, if your employer is making you sign something that goes against your Bill of Rights, then I don't care what the contract says. That should be thrown out. But these courts, many times, they go along with these lawyers and these corporations, these unions, all of them. And over time, everybody gets, all the people that are lower on the totem pole just end up getting to this place where you're just like, it's not that you're complacent, it's just like, it's sort of like what George Carlin, the comedian, said. Be happy with what you got, okay? The people that run everything aren't, it's not going to change. Now, I don't have that attitude. He was rather pessimistic, and sometimes I am too about it, but I believe something is happening, just because, I believe when I say something is happening, I think that there's a lot of people just fed up. because it's gone way too far, as you say. But everybody will capitulate for the paycheck. And everybody that is controlling the system knows that everybody will capitulate for the paycheck. They will. You'll get one or two people that'll go up against it. I've tried. And they'll ruin you. They do. They'll humiliate you, they'll ruin you, and then everybody around you, even though they know you're right, will then be upset with you because you're making waves. Yeah, this system knows exactly how to control everybody in it. And ultimately, it all comes down to the paycheck. It all comes down to the paycheck. I think that's why it says in the Bible, the root of all evil is money. At the root of it is money. The root of all evil is money, because people will look away and say, I'm just doing me. I didn't see that. That's not my problem. I'm going to justify it to myself that I didn't stand up and say the right thing or do the right thing, when I know I saw something wrong. And we all are guilty of that one, where it's like, in the back of your mind you should have done something, but you sold out to either because your paycheck. Ultimately, that's the reason people capitulate, is the paycheck. And so that's the reason why these monopolies, I saw it 9 years ago, this being a real problem with these we have monopolies, but the healthcare systems never should have been allowed to monopolize, never. It's been the worst thing to healthcare. It's been the worst thing to quality of care. It's been the worst thing for staffing. That's where the problem is. The union's gone along with that. And the problem is that the Federal Trade Commission allowed all these monopolies, and they're still going on. They're going across state lines now. So what happens is, say you live in a county that has 4 or 5 hospitals, okay? Or maybe even in the rural areas you have less. If those hospitals all fall under one healthcare system, and you stand up for your rights, or not your rights, but stand up for the right thing, say, and you're really, say, no, I'm not going along with this. This is wrong to do. Well, then, of course, they can get rid of you. Every employer has a right to get rid of employees for any reason. They really do. Even when they set you up, they get away with it. And so they get rid of you. Well, where are you going to go? Well, you have to go to the next county, or you have to go to the next town, or maybe even, all the way over to the other side of the state to get a job, because now you left there, or you got fired, whatever it is, you can't go anywhere else. They own all of them. And under this digital system, they really have the control, right? They do. So then you're now all that's why this idea that nobody's coming to your house to take you anywhere. They aren't. They don't have to. They can block you out of the system, bankrupt you, and nobody will ever hear from you again. Just because you lose everything. So that's so ultimately people don't stand up because they don't want that to happen to them. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I mean, yeah, but I don't know what you can do to fix that. I think there has to be. I believe, and I believe there should be more. I don't think that the private free enterprises should be allowed the same Bill of Rights that average Americans are allowed. I don't think they should be at all. I think there should be more safety so that they cannot get away with what they've done. And I don't know what you do about all of it. There's a ton of people that they have all these lawyers to justify their actions. Really, what what employees don't realize is that at every moment you're doing stuff you probably know you shouldn't do in a way. And yet your employer knows it, and they're setting a trap for you, because then they'll use it against you later. It's shitty. It's all shitty. But it's the corporation level. They trap you because of the paycheck. They use you. And then the people at the top never suffer. It's the people at the bottom that will end up getting in trouble, because that corporation doesn't give a shit about you, and they'll throw you under the bus at any given moment. It doesn't matter what corporation. They all do it. I'm not trying to sound negative. It's just that's how big the beast is here. So, yes, everybody should stand up, and that would at least be a start, right? And there's a lot of people speaking up. But the corporations are the ones that are taking away our rights. They have been for a long time. And they'll do it regardless of which government is in or who is in. It'll take somebody that's willing to arrest these people that have denied us our rights.